Welcome to this explainer. Look, long before a single cable is actually energized on your site, there's this invisible paperwork deadline that quietly dictates your entire project schedule. Miss it? You legally can't proceed to energization. Your physical reality just stops, dead in its tracks. I mean, think about it. Can a piece of paper actually halt a massive excavator? Absolutely. Missing this administrative clock means you are legally blocked. You could have a flawless substation, perfectly tested, ready to go, but if you didn't file the right documents at the right time, boom, complete compliance blockade.
So, what's this massive trap? It all comes down to equipment nomenclature. Before you build a single thing, the transmission licensee requires you to uniquely name and number every switch, every transformer, every breaker, and you have to use their mandatory uniform system. No exceptions.
Let's map this out on your timeline. We're looking at two absolutely critical compliance milestones you have to hit to keep things legally moving. And here's the catch. We're dealing with two very different clocks here. One is tied to your physical installation date, and a completely separate one is tied to your energization date. Okay, rule number one, the 6-month clock. No less than 6 months before your proposed physical installation begins, you've got to submit your drafted equipment nomenclature to the transmission licensee. And listen, this isn't just, dropping a quick email. It's a formal proposal detailing the exact naming conventions for every single component of your electrical plan. Now, why 6 months? Well, it gives the transmission licensee time to check for naming conflicts across the entire national grid. Imagine proposing a new asset and just calling it Breaker 12 or CB12. The grid operator needs time to realize, hey, wait, a CB12 already exists on the other side of the country. Catching this early prevents a total panicked relabeling scramble at your site. It's just a simple rename in an office rather than an emergency physical swap of labels literally weeks before go-live. Building off those approved names, we hit milestone number 2. At least 3 months prior to energization, your final single-line diagram, which shows all those uniquely labeled, officially approved high-voltage apparatuses, has to be fully approved. This guarantees your as-built diagram is perfectly verified and baked into the licensee's records before they even consider your energization request. I love this analogy because it really shows why this isn't just bureaucratic red tape. Think of it like a hospital assigning a totally unique patient ID months before a scheduled surgery. Every chart, every label, every single instruction references that exact ID. When the surgical team is in the operating room under pressure, there is zero ambiguity about who the patient is or what equipment is involved. It's an absolutely uncompromisable safety system. Let's put this into a real-world scenario. Imagine a fault trips on the transmission network. It's 2 a.m., pitch black. An operator at the energy management system radios a field tech with a critical command, isolate breaker CB4471. When that technician is out there in the middle of the night, that unique designation literally has to be unmistakable across the entire grid to prevent a catastrophe. If there are 2 CB4471s, you've got a potentially fatal hazard. That is exactly what these nomenclature rules prevent. And here is the scheduling trap that derails so many projects. Quick pop quiz. Which deadline is measured from installation and which from energization? Well, your nomenclature is measured from installation 6 months prior. Your final SLD measured from energization 3 months prior. They are different reference points entirely. If you collapse these into a single date or just assume, oh, I'll do it all 6 months before go live, your physical work is going to get completely stopped. All right, to wrap up this compliance explainer, previously we tackled earth electrode design, which officially closed out section 2. Now, you know both critical submission deadlines. You actually have the tools to build a fully compliant project timeline. Submit those names 6 months before installation. Get that SLD officially approved 3 months before energization. Your project absolutely lives or dies by these invisible administrative clocks. Which brings us to our final thought. Let's say the paperwork is flawless. The equipment is named, the timeline is totally locked, but now the excavator finally shows up. Next time, we're diving into trial holes before machines. We'll cover the strict excavation and cable protection rules that keep digging blindly from becoming a $1 million mistake. Thanks for tuning into this explainer, and definitely keep these timelines locked into your next project.